This Family Life News podcast is made possible by the support of listeners like you.
Next on the 5 o'clock report.
Young people are coddled, and they don't need to be coddled anymore.
If companies commit to manufacturing in here, they could avoid that tariff. That's a really important point. It's essentially pay to play.
We believe that redistricting is about the public, not about the political parties.
Now, let's go to the newsroom.
Good afternoon and welcome to the broadcast. I'm Family Life News anchor Sarah Harnish. We start in Washington, D.C. Prosecutors may seek the death penalty for the man accused of killing 2 Israeli embassy staffers in D.C. earlier this year. U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro says it was an anti-Semitic attack.
He opened fire, killing first Yaron Lashinsky, then killing Sarah Milgram. And when firing these fatal shots, he yelled, "Free Palestine."
In a Q&A after, Pirro was asked by the press about Donald Trump's policies when it comes to freedom for police nationwide.
Do you support a federal takeover of Washington, D.C.?
I think that what the president was saying is that we're seeing far too much crime being committed by young people, 14, 15, 16, 17 years old.
She says teenagers making adult decisions need to face serious consequences.
Young people are coddled, and they don't need to be coddled anymore. They need to be held accountable. They shouldn't be going to arts and crafts in family court. I will reference a case that I wrote an op-ed piece on that I've been talking about for weeks. A young person gets on a bus with an illegal gun. There is a family on the bus. He makes a decision to shoot someone in the chest. But for the grace of God, that individual did not die. He's got a gun. It's illegal. He used the gun. Guess what the sentence was? Probation. We can't have that.
3 of the 5 soldiers shot at Fort Stewart in Georgia have been released from the hospital. Brigadier General John Lubis said the other 2 soldiers who remain hospitalized are expected to make full recoveries, and one could be released this weekend. Meanwhile, the Army hailing the heroics of soldiers that were on the scene. Here's General John Lubis again.
No one hesitated. Most of these soldiers behind me and others in the crowd immediately started applying first aid and, most importantly, stopped the bleeding. And when we spoke to the surgeons in the hospital, it was clear that the actions they took, primarily stopping that bleeding before they were loaded up into ambulances and quickly evac'd to Win Army Medical, certainly saved their lives.
He says it was nearby soldiers that tackled and subdued the gunman.
The fast action of these soldiers under stress and under trauma and under fire absolutely saved lives.
The suspected gunman, an active duty military member, was taken into custody following the attack. President Trump's tariffs are now in effect for over 60 countries and the European Union. Trump proclaimed on social media that billions of dollars will flow into the U.S. because of it. Analyst Kelly O'Grady.
The president saying if companies commit to manufacturing in here, they could avoid that tariff. That's a really important point. It's essentially pay to play.
CBS business analyst Jill Schlesinger.
Investors seem to be taking the tariffs in stride, focusing instead on the ability for companies to continue to make money during this period of time, especially those technology companies that are spending on artificial intelligence.
A wide variety of products will be hit, ranging from appliances to cars to food and furniture. There's been a shakeup in the upper ranks of the FBI. CBS's Michael Wallace.
Several top officials have been told tomorrow will be their last day at the Bureau. The list includes Brian Driscoll, who served as the FBI's acting director during the first few weeks of the Trump administration, as Kash Patel's nomination was pending. Driscoll was accused of insubordination after he refused to turn over the names of agents who were involved in the investigation into the January 6th attack on the Capitol.
A helicopter crash on the Mississippi River near Illinois has claimed the lives of 2 people. It happened near Alton, about 25 miles north of St. Louis. The Missouri State Highway Patrol said that helicopter hit power lines before crashing into a barge. And Mel Gibson's long-awaited sequel to his film The Passion of the Christ is in development. The Resurrection of the Christ will be released in 2027 in 2 parts. Part 1 will come out on Good Friday, and Part 2 will debut 40 days later later on Ascension Day. Passion star Jim Caviezel will reprise his role as Jesus. Still to come on the 5 o'clock report, religious freedom win in New York. 2 Pennsylvania state troopers ambushed, and more on the Canadian wildfires after weather with Kevin Williams.
Here is your Family Life regional weather forecast. Looks like it'll be hot, dry, and sunny. We do need rain. There were a few downpours yesterday in parts of the area, but widespread rain is not happening anytime soon. The call for the night tonight is for skies that'll be clear to partly cloudy, hazy, moonlit, low temps around 60 or so. Tomorrow, partly to mostly sunny, warm in the 80s. Saturday, sunny in the 80s to near 90. And Sunday is sunny with high temperatures in the 80s and lower 90s.
Thank you, Kevin. Checking the stories making news where you live across New York and Pennsylvania. 2 Pennsylvania state troopers are hospitalized after being ambushed. Here's Family Life's Mark Webster with details.
Yeah, it happened late this morning. Police say the troopers were dispatched to check on the welfare of an individual and upon arrival were immediately ambushed in a rural area near Thompson in Susquehanna County, Pennsylvania. The troopers were last reported to be in stable condition. The attacker is dead. Governor Josh Shapiro went to the scene to meet with one of the wounded troopers in a nearby hospital, as did State Police Colonel Christopher Paris, who told reporters the ambushed troopers were, quote, lucky to be alive. Mark Webster, Family Life News.
A couple of GOP congressmen from New York want Canada to do more to prevent wildfires that are causing poor air quality in New York and Pennsylvania. Scott Pringle reports.
Republicans Elise Stefanik and Nick Langworthy wrote a letter to the Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney asking Canada to dedicate more resources to fire prevention and response. They say New York communities are dealing with unacceptable levels of smoke in the last few years due to Canadian wildfires. They point out in the letter that it's impacted outdoor activities and has forced residents to stay inside during the summer months.
A drug company owned by billionaire sports mogul Mark Cuban is partnering with Pennsylvania-based Giant Eagle grocery stores to make medications more affordable. Customers can save on their prescriptions using the Team Cuban card. Starting tomorrow, shoppers across Giant Eagle's 5-state network can use that card to fill prescriptions without insurance. Some lash out over the redistricting fight in Texas. This after New York Governor Kathy Hochul provided breakfast for a bunch of Democrats dodging a redistricting vote there. She said New York can do some of its own redistricting if Texas passes theirs. Good government groups in the Empire State say redistricting retaliation is a bad idea. Rachel Faust with Reinvent Albany.
We fundamentally don't think that New York is going to save American democracy by gerrymandering.
Blair Horner is with the New York Public Interest Research Group.
An eye for an eye leaves the world blind.
Both Horner and Foss say gerrymandering is a task best left for independent observers, not politicians. Next at 5, a sit-down with Christian photographer Emily Carpenter and her legal team. Brian Nyhard with Alliance Defending Freedom. The Empire State was threatening fines if she refused to photograph same-sex weddings. So she took the state to court and won. Let's listen in.
So New York State has what's called public accommodations law, and that put me in jeopardy of hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of fines, jail time, closure of my business. Ultimately, it felt like my options were violate my faith or close down my business.
How does somebody go from photographing a wedding to ending up in a courtroom with New York State on the other side of it? How did this play out?
Honestly, it's something I never thought would be my story, and yet here we are. It actually all started back in college. I had a very dear family friend who identifies as part of the gay community and had asked me to photograph his wedding. That really sent me on this larger trajectory of, oh my goodness, I'm going to continue getting these inquiries. And once I incorporated my business in 2019 and was continually getting more inquiries, it created a lot of anxiety. I don't know what my rights are. I don't know where this leaves me. I wanted to be able to run my business in a way where I could honor my religious convictions.
What incredible bravery and courage on your part, because you just opened the door for all the other Christian businesses behind you. It changed the game. Most people wouldn't sit through years of litigation to stand up to one of the most blue states in America. Why did you do it?
I felt like as a Christian, it is not just your responsibility, but also your joy to honor Christ. Even though it has come at a cost, there have been personal losses. I'm pregnant with my third child. All of our kids have come throughout the course of litigation. It has been very emotional at times, and yet I still feel like it was worth every step of the journey because we don't live our lives to honor man, but to honor God. And I think there's a lot of joy in following Christ in spite of opposition and in persecution.
Brian, will this case have a ripple effect on other Christian businesses in New York and even across the country?
It absolutely protects Christian professionals, but it actually protects all Americans, regardless of their particular viewpoint. And so what this case says is that the government can't put their thumb on the scale of particular views and favor those points over others. So certainly in New York, this case sets a precedent for other New Yorkers who engage in expression for a living, but it also serves as a precedent for wedding photographers across the country that says if their government is telling them that they have to take a particular view of marriage, the government is in violation of the First Amendment.
Emily, what's next for you?
Well, most imminently, I will be having a baby. But once that passes next month, I am so excited to really put my foot to the pedal with my business and actually confidently put my business out there because it has been this 10th season of not knowing where the other shoe was going to drop. I never would have foreseen that my trajectory would be one of a legal battle, and yet I felt that this is the hill that I was going to die on. This was something that God organically dropped in my lap, and so I think you have to hold the line somewhere. Sometimes taking the first step is the hardest part, but now I feel like I can live out my faith in confidence and in honesty, whereas before that, my beliefs were closeted.
That's Christian photographer Emily Carpenter. You can subscribe, listen to, and share Faith Under Fire and all of Family Life's original podcasts at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or at familylife.org.
Early retirement may seem attractive, but it has its dangers. Hi, I'm Rob West with a Faith and Finance Minute. Retirement itself isn't the problem, but how we view it matters deeply. If we see retirement as a life of endless leisure, disconnected from purpose or meaningful work, it can lead to faster decline, physically, mentally, relationally, and even spiritually. Retirement can be embraced as a new season of fruitfulness through part-time work, volunteering, mentoring, caregiving, or creative pursuits. God designed us for fruitful labor, and that doesn't stop when we leave a career. The Bible never mentions retirement the way our culture defines it. God calls us to work throughout life, whether paid or unpaid, serving others and advancing His kingdom. So don't retire from purpose, redirect it. Manage your finances wisely with the easy-to-use FaithFi app. Download FaithFi, Faith and Finance from your app store, or learn more at faithfi.com.
Coming up on the 5 o'clock report, how tall is the tallest sunflower you've ever seen? We have a whopper of a flower coming up after weather.
Here is your Family Life regional weather forecast. Looks like it'll be hot, dry, and sunny. We do need rain. There were a few downpours yesterday in parts of the area, but widespread rain is not happening anytime soon. The call for the night tonight is for skies will be clear to partly cloudy, hazy, moonlit, low temps around 60 or so. Tomorrow, partly to mostly sunny, warm in the 80s. Saturday, sunny in the 80s to near 90. And Sunday, sunny with high temperatures in the 80s and lower 90s.
Back to the 90s. Again, finally at 5, sunflowers usually stand out in a garden because of their size. But there's no way you can miss Alex Babbich's sunflower. The Indiana Gardner sunflower beat the U.S. record last week when it topped 26 feet 8 inches tall. And it's still growing. It's now within a foot of the world record of 30 feet 1 inch. And Babbich tells WANE there's no one more surprised than he is.
Didn't think the world record would ever be beat. And at that, it was by me.
The city of Fort Wayne has embraced Clover. That's the name Babbich gave his stupendous sunflower. And the immigrant has embraced Fort Wayne right back.
I'm from Ukraine originally. You know, we immigrated back in 91. We escaped Chernobyl. We came here and we started living in Fort Wayne. We love this little town. Absolutely love it. We're raising our kids here. They support us and we're like, thank you. And we would like to give something back. So let's bring this record back to U.S.
Babbich says his amazing flower has grown as much as 6 inches in one night. And that's the world that we live in for Thursday, the 7th of August. I'm Sarah Harnish, and this is the 5 o'clock report on Family Life.
Thank you for listening to this Family Life News podcast. If you've been encouraged by what you've heard, please share it with others and click the subscribe button to automatically receive future episodes. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Podcasts like this are made possible by your financial partnership. Find out more at familylife.org.